Aquarius. I just did your extended for the end of December, beginning of January, and I thought since my hair is all standing on edge and all like taking in the Aquarius energy right now, I talked about it in the extended. You'll understand what I'm saying if you go and watch that. I thought, let's keep going. It's okay. Let's keep going with this energy. Aquarius wants to know. All right, bunch of cards. Queen of Wands, Ace of Cups, 8 of Wands, 10 of Cups, 2 of Swords, the Hierophant, 4 of Swords, and then boom, the Star, 9 of Swords, the Hermit. Okay, so that was really fast. Let's take a look. Geez, I knew you guys wanted to talk, but I didn't know it was like that. Straight into it, huh? Camera froze. Excuse me. All right. Let's see. Queen of Wands, Ace of Cups, 8 of Wands, 10 of Cups, awesome. 2 of Swords, the Hierophant, Taurus, 4 of Swords, you, there you are, and then 9 of Swords and the Hermit. Okay, so we know it's going to take you a little while to work out of this energy, and you're leaving January still in the throes of learning how to deal with the pain that this situation brought you. In the meantime, there is fire energy around you that is trying to bring new love into your life and like pushing a little bit towards new love. This may be a friend who's trying to propel you towards new love. It may be just a fire sign energy that's falling in love with you and wants to make that clear to you. Whichever way this goes, it's something that's pushing you. It's rushing you slightly. And it's rushing you in a way that's not necessarily bad, because where it's taking you is great. However, I feel that there is a resistance with you. It's a fear-based resistance, and I think it has to do with this. I think that's why this still comes up here. But the person or the new energy that you're dealing with first comes up as fire. The fire is what propels you into a new situation, but you're unsure because the new person coming up here, the Hierophant as the Taurus card, has some sort of a distant and then there and then gone and then there and then gone Virgo kind of quality to them. And it's making you, hesitant. You're not sure of what you want to do. And this is kind of the kiss of death card for Aquarians, because this is where the mind loops and you're just like, I'm stuck. So if you find yourself towards the end of the year, beginning of the next year, stuck in some way, because the Taurus card can also represent that stuck kind of quality. If you find yourself feeling stuck, the guidance being perhaps being stuck isn't so bad. Perhaps taking the time to contemplate is exactly what's needed, just like the reading I just did for you guys, so you can come back to yourself, so you can be yourself again, move forward. And here, what's going to keep you back from moving forward, it comes up so clearly, is if you are not able to let this go. And what I mean by let this go is you're still trying to make sense of it. Your air sign nature wants to make sense of it, but this is not something you're going to be able to make sense of, because this is somebody who is beholden to their feelings in a way that only earth signs are. And it's not something that you're going to be able to rationalize. This is someone whose feelings run along their obligatory pathways. For them, if they're in love with someone or if they feel connected to someone, that's not something ultimately that has anything to do with logic. It has nothing to do with rationality. Again, Virgos seem like air signs, but they're not. The pull, the connection, the thing that you may have such a hard time being able to understand about this person is that it's not being done from a mental place. It's not swords, right? Whatever it is that you are finding so hard to understand about the dissolution of this connection has to do with not understanding that this is a sensual energy. And their connections are not based on the things that your connections are based on. And so it's causing a lot of dissonance for you. What I see happening here is that it's keeping you from moving on to something better because you're afraid. Because this robbed you of an understanding that you thought you had of people and of relationships in general. And it hasn't worked out the way you thought. Not only did it not work out the way you thought, it worked out really bad. So moving forward now, perhaps you're seeing, ghosts where there are none. And the advice being that then you need to get really quiet and recenter yourself because this is turning into a loop. How many times are you going to let this situation pull you out of your power and back into a pain dynamic, especially when it's important that it comes up like the Virgo card, because whenever the Virgo card is involved, the only way this dynamic can happen is if you're playing, because they can't play by themselves, right? But every time you play into it, you're the one that ends up more hurt because their connectivity is different than yours. See, this is an energy that's already got their connections and they're sorting their life out. So you trying to still make sense of the life that you had with them, it doesn't make sense because they're on a whole other journey now, right? So even if they're coming back to shed light on your unhappiness, it's not helping. It's just magnifying it more, right? So what I would suggest, and this is the new direction that we need to take with these readings, is let's ask now, what do we need to do? What do we need to do to focus here on such great things coming in so quickly, such promising things, so much energy and fire behind it? What do we need to do to focus here and make this more of our reality instead of falling back into this loop just because someone might be similar, right? How do we keep ourselves focused on these positive cards of love and, the hand of God coming out of nowhere and just handing you a cup of overflowing love, quickly catapulting you into a very loving situation, right? How do you... Okay, Queen of Pentacles. So how does one receive all of this? It is about value. It is about worth. It's about knowing your worth, and it's about work. It's about money. It's about focusing on those that are giving to you and adding to your life and bringing something to you and giving to you and adding to your life. That's where your focus needs to be. As long as you're focusing on those that are holding things out to you, for you, there you will find all of this other good stuff. But if you cannot focus on what the hand is giving to you, you see, the cards are dope. The cards are not a joke. If you cannot focus on those that are trying to give to you, there's the loop again. So January finds you within the possession of many different energies that would love to present you with new opportunities, new love, new money, new work situations, new self-esteem, new self-worth, new fire under your, self, really get you going and roaring, new love, periods of contemplation. You can have all of this. But man, oh man, this is addictive because it is so hard not to get stuck on where we failed, right, Aquarius? It's so hard to not focus on where we just lost, failed, couldn't do it, like it's so painful. And especially when, like, again, like these two people, they have this in common, like they just don't understand. Like you can see it in this guy's face. He's like, I don't understand. It was so, I don't understand. The 5 of Cups came up in the extended that I was just doing, and it's like the guy is just looking at the 3 cups that spilled, and he just can't get over the fact that they spilled. He doesn't see the other 2. Well, this guy doesn't see the one that's being offered right to his face. And what cup is this that he's being offered that he's not seeing? Is this cup, right? It's this cup. It's this new person trying to come into your life. It's, it's this. That's being offered. It's this. This is being offered. And ultimately, what is it that all of this is emblematic of? It's you that's being offered back to you. You have a chance now at the beginning of the year, in your season, to get, it's right there. But your focus is going to determine, Aquarius, where it goes, because the need to win has brought you to a point that is painful. And at this point, just counterintuitive, because you're going against your best interests, right? Staying stuck, wondering, and somehow energetically with your mind trying to pull the situation back to you, it's just leaving you with no options, because you're turning your back on so much that is just like wanting to be thrown at you and given to you and given to you and given to you, and you're just like not seeing it. Right? Just not being able to just not being able to see it. Just not being able to see it. So, the next question being, although there are many cards on the table, I just don't want you to feel like I rushed through your reading, because like these cards are just so clear. I knew you guys wanted to talk, but I didn't expect them to come out just like. The next question I would ask then is, how do we get out of this energy? Okay, fine. We know all this is being offered to us. On some level, this is a visceral thing. You can feel it. You know it. And yet, the pain, the regret. How do we work ourselves out of this long enough to see that the sun is, like, here comes the sun. What do we need? What do we need to understand now to pull us out of the 4 of Cups energy? Right? So I've been sitting in the corner of the frame the whole time. That's annoying. Sorry about that. What the? You know what? Sorry. Everybody cooperate. Excuse me. What do we need? I mean, like, that's the whole point of, like, changing the readings a little bit, right? Like, it's one thing to just be like, okay, this is what it looks like. But is that enough? Is it helping? Right? Because if that's all I'm doing, then yeah, it makes sense that there's a bunch of people out there doing exactly what I'm doing, probably saying exactly what I'm saying in the same tone of voice. But that's not their fault, right? Then that's my fault. Because I should be providing more than that. If I'm providing a service to you that can be that easily duplicated, then I'm not good at my job. You know what I mean? Then where's my talent? So I never take stuff like that personally. I take it as a compliment, but I also take it as an indication that I'm not living up to my fullest potential. So perhaps through my example, you will be inspired as well, because it requires a lack of ego to be able to say, I need to step it up, or I need to look at things differently, or I need to do more, I need to do better. So my way of doing that is to take these readings to a more esoteric level. It's not just about, these are the energies that you're going to have around you this month, because then I'm just kind of giving you some basic instructions on a lifeboat and just sending you out there. And there's too much fear involved with that for me, right? I don't want these readings to be based on what's going to happen. This is about you learning how to understand yourself to the point where there's no fear, regardless of what comes up, right? Because it's all just another tool of understanding. So in the spirit of that, let's ask some real questions and get some real understanding, because now we know what it looks like. Good. Now let's ask some questions. Regardless of how we got here, we know that you're here. We know there's much being offered to you. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. We know. There you are. But you're subjugating yourself to something else, and it's running your mind right now. Whether this is you wanting out of your situation so financially you can do more with your life, whether this is you seeing more for yourself in some other way, whether this is you thought about that you were going to have this love and now this other type of love is coming and it's not the type that you thought you wanted, whatever has brought you to thinking that what you're getting is not as good as what you thought you were going to get or what you had. How do we get out of that energy? What do we need to understand about ourselves? What do you need to understand about you that's going to work you out of that place? Because take it from someone who's been in that Four of Cups energy for a long time. Geez Louise, nobody likes being there. This is a place of consumption. You're so consumed by something you just can't think straight. Let's see. What do we need to do to be able to really see all the good that's obviously all around us? But the distraction level, the pain, the realization of it all, it's just distracting us so much. How do we push past it? Because it's sorrow, it's grief. The Nine of Swords, it's grief. The grief that comes with finally understanding something. Man, oh man. The Judgment card. Okay, so karma. Things having to be said how they are. So if you find yourself in this Four of Cups energy and you can't, the question that we asked was, how do we work ourselves out of this place so we can see all the good that's being offered to us? And the answer that you're getting is you need to see things how they really are. If you're being told very clearly how things are, then you need to hear it. It's not enough for people to say it. You need to hear it. And if it's the other way around, that you need to say something and get it off your chest before you can move forward, then there's that interpretation. Either way, there is something that needs to be either said or understood that someone else is saying that's falling on deaf ears. I think it's because you're not wanting to face the reality of something. And it's the Judgment card is listen, this isn't going to stop. This thing, it will keep just, being that brick wall. It is not going to change. Right? The Judgment, it's it is the way it is. It is this way. So the quicker you hear this and pay attention and get what's going on, the quicker you will work yourself out of this energy. Now, one more question. If we accept what we are being told and what is, the obvious writing on the wall, as painful as it is, if we accept things how they are, then what do we need to know moving forward with this 10 of Cups, Ace of Cups, Ace of Pentacles? If we accept things how they are, is that the bridge to all the happiness, or is there something else? Is there something else after accepting the pain of the Nine of Swords Hermit dynamic? After we accept it, what's the road to our happiness? The Sun, Six of Pentacles, Five of Pentacles, Ace of Wands. Okay. The road to your happiness, no, it's not as negative as it seems. The road to your happiness, the road to all the things that need to be offered to you, the bridge between understanding it is how it is to all the things you want is, one, like I said, the Sun's going to come back out, right? Leo card, taking some of that Leo energy. Okay. A Leo coming in, perhaps. There is a fire sign here. Right? Some new, bright energy coming in, being the bridge, the optimism, good luck. And also understanding, Aquarius, that this feeling like you are owed something is holding you back. When you feel like people owe you, when you hold things over people's head, especially when it comes to money or work or something tangible, something material, what it does is it messes with you. It puts you in a more dire strait within your own life when you exert this kind of control over others. So as soon as you are able to comprehend this and kind of eradicate it from within yourself, when you can eradicate this need to perhaps silently pull the strings a little with money, because this kind of control is subtle, Aquarius. Aquarians can get into relationships with people who may not be quite as financially settled as them. And they may hate it. You may hate being in that situation and not for that person to have as much as you do, or, to be able, if you're supporting them financially, so you may hate it. But at the same time, the reason Aquarians have a tendency to get into those sugar mama relationships so often is because it is a passive aggressive form of control, and it's easy to do, especially when you're smart. So I feel like a lot of times, because Aquarians need that extra control factor, you guys can be very controlling. For that reason, money is one of the ways that you can do that, as does every sign, if they are so inclined to control. So, you see how delicate I'm being? So, because this is a pretty, common factor in the Aquarian personality, it can be one of your greatest pitfalls. So as you work yourself out of this kind of passive aggressive, perhaps financially manipulative energy, then what you will find is greater opportunity, more genuine opportunity coming to you. If that doesn't resonate at all for you, you may find that you thought you were going to get something. Again, you were so sure you were going to get this thing. You were just sure. Again, December extended, very eye-opening. You were so sure. And when it didn't happen, it just comes up. It's like circular. Like, you guys really do loop. It's like things start to go well, and you loop back to the negative. Things start to go well, you loop back to the negative. And it's like opportunities flanking you on both sides, but still, like, I thought I deserve it. It's they owe me. It's like all of that. And I feel like the universe is like, no. Like, you think you're stubborn? The universe is like, listen, like, I can be petty too. No. So if you, the message for 2017 being, if you would like access to all those things, because that's the question we asked. If you would like access to all of this, then this entitlement and then the ensuing sadness and despair from not getting what you thought you were entitled to is keeping you from all the good stuff that's trying to come in. And if you've chosen one person or one dynamic as the focal point of that entitlement, man, is that person going to put you like drag you, because they have become your karmic lesson in how to and how karma pays you back when you try to control. And I don't see that dynamic getting any easier or less painful. So it's like the world is going to force you to let go of this dynamic. And it will be your great healing and lesson learned, and you will have the gifts afterward for it. But how long you stay here and how many times this trumpet needs to be blown, that's up to you. That's up to you. I know you have, the fears and the pain and you feel like very wronged, but it's because this was always illusory. You feel wronged because you feel like it was like this, but it wasn't. Like, that's what the cards are trying to say over and over. It was never like what you thought. You have a whole other thing going on here. But you're like wanting to be in the middle. Okay, Aquarius rising, Aquarius moon. You're wanting to be in the middle of another person's thing. You want so bad to like. And the karma card is like just the brick wall between you and that impulse. Like, the karma card is like, I will pull you right back here over and over again if you try this. So some major lessons, some major road signs, some major warnings, but mainly, and I want to, really kind of harp on this for a second, you've got to be able to see the warning cards for what they are. This is not fear-based predictive astrology, okay? All they are mental processes. These are neural pathways that you use over and over and over again. That doesn't mean that they're set in stone. There's something called neural plasticity. You can change this whenever you like. You can understand this about yourself. You can be humbled and admit that you do feel this way, right? You can go so far as to even like admit hitting your head against this brick wall and trying to get into something that has nothing to do with it. You can do all of that. And as you do that, these cards that seem so, full of despair and pain and whatever, they transform, because as soon as you admit these things and you recognize these things within yourself, they lose their power as being something negative. See, if this is a healing and a learning tool for you to see within yourself, then how is it negative? How is any of it negative? I mean, aside from the fact that it's overwhelmingly positive, right? This is about showing you focus. This is a very good representation of how all of this great stuff could be going on for you. But your focus, Aquarius, can be so selective, right? If you focus here, you're just going to get more of this. And I promise you, all this dynamic is meant to teach you is how you will not get something just because you think you're entitled to it. But if we learn the lesson and move on, there's so much good that can be had once you understand this about yourself. And it makes sense, right, that you wouldn't have access to all this until you understood this about yourself. Yeah? Do you believe me when I tell you I love you? We doing it. Happy New Year. I'll see you in February.